Okay, so by the end of this video, you're probably going to be convinced that I am one of the worst drone pilots ever. So a couple of years back, drones were just getting popular. They were all over the internet, and I saw a video from Casey Neistat, the one where he was trying to fly a drone inside of his office. And I was like, how hard could it be? So I went out, got the same drone, and flew it in the city. On that maiden flight, there were no problems, and it all went well. But to be fair, it was an open area where I flew it, and DJI software is excellent, and I didn't exactly fly it around much. So overall, I perceived it as a very, very successful flight.
Thumbs up. Thumbs up.
This boosted my ego immensely. So I was like,
hey, I can fly now, I'm a professional.
So the natural thing to do when you have a new drone and an inflated ego was to take it to the next level. So I immediately got a ticket, and the next day I was in Taiwan taking incredible drone shots. But because this was a spontaneous trip, I hadn't checked the weather forecast. Apparently, it was hurricane season. By the time I noticed dark clouds coming and increasing wind speeds, I was all the way up in a small mountain. I didn't want to have had traveled all the way up to the mountain and not have a chance to fly my drone. So I rationalized with myself, stupid, and gave myself 10 minutes to get the footage and go. So I did, and I didn't take any precaution because it was an open area, right? I flew up and high, far away, like 500 meters away. By now, it was, I couldn't even see it in the sky. Not a good idea in a hurricane situation. Then the 10 minutes were up, and when I tried to come back, the drone didn't seem to be responding to my control. It just kept going farther and farther out. I'm like, what? But luckily, I thought DJI, the company that makes the drones, has this home button which makes the drone come back automatically. So I pushed it, hoping it was some kind of software glitch in the controls.
The aircraft will go to the home point.
So the remote said it was coming home, but the GPS said it was going farther and farther. It was still going the opposite direction. And then that was when I realized, holy crap, the hurricane winds are too fast for the drone, and the drone doesn't have enough power to fight against it and move in the other direction towards me, where I was. I was in panic mode. To make things worse, the battery was dying.
Battery level is low.
At this point, the drone was really, really far away. It was like 5 kilometers away from me. So I went into contingency mode. I looked around on the drone's video display and looked for a possible crash landing site. No luck. Everywhere was forest. There were wild animals in there. But when all hope seemed to be lost, there was hope. With about 8% of battery life left, and with the drone still struggling to return home, the winds suddenly changed direction. And I could move! And miraculously, I suddenly spotted an empty flat field in the middle of the forest. It was small, but it was there. So in the brief moment I was able to move, I sped toward that empty field. It was in the same direction as where I was. So secretly I was kind of hoping it would still come back to me just in time. But just as it was approximately over that field, I'm not sure, the winds changed again and I wasn't able to move anymore. But I was able to maintain my position in the sky by going against the wind. This was it. I had no choice. I had to make it back to the field. The battery died, and my screen blacked out. Just like that. I stared at my screen in disbelief for a few seconds. I just got a $2,000 toy and managed to lose it in one day. Damn. But just before it went dark, I remembered the remote saved the last GPS location of the drone. So there was hope. Immediately, my friend and I repacked all our bags, ran all the way down the mountain to the parking lot, jumped into the car, and sped all the way to the last known GPS location. a couple of kilometers away. On the map, it appeared to be inside the forest, but when we arrived, it appeared to be a private luxury hotel of some sort. We went into the main gates and explained to the guards our situation. And eventually, after convincing a couple of people, we were given permission to search on their premises, provided a staff member followed us around. So we followed the GPS coordinates and it led us to a gate. The staff member escorting us stopped us and explained that anything past that gate is government property, not the hotel, so we're not allowed to go in there. But my drone was in there. Suddenly I saw a piece of white plastic in the midst of all the greenery past the gate. "That's it! It's over there!" I said. The staff member looked at me and said, "Okay, make it quick." We rushed in. There was a small paddy field, and there it was. Crashed my freaking drone. Found it all the way crashed here in a private estate. The drone somehow managed to land on the corner edge of a tiny paddy field surrounded by a thick forest from all the way up in the clouds by itself. Just 1 meter off, the drone would have fallen down a cliff into the thick forest and be lost forever. It was truly a miracle. I experienced all my emotions that day, from excitement to satisfaction, and then to panic, and then to rock bottom sadness, and then having a spark of hope, and then to immense relief. Woo! After all that, you would have thought I'd learned my lesson, right? No, because I'm a slow learner. Well, the very next day, we went to this valley called Taroko Gorge. It's basically this beautiful valley made of marble. That's where marble comes from. Being freshly scarred from my experience just a day ago, I barred myself from flying the drone for a while. Then I got to this section in the middle of the valley, so I thought, okay, this is a huge area. What could go wrong, right? Well, apparently a lot of things. Against my better judgment, I set up the drone, flew it out, and almost immediately, out of nowhere, a swarm of birds or bats or whatever surrounded my drone like the unknown from Pokemon. Have you seen that movie, Pokemon? The one with Entei and stuff? The birds, they surrounded it like some kind of force field. It was kind of scary. So I was like, OMG, OMG, OMG! Because every one of these birds were like a kamikaze pilot. One hit, and we're both gonna go down. And if that happens, there was no way I was gonna be able to go down all the way to get my drone. It was a little bit like your drone falling down into the Grand Canyon. There's no way you're gonna go down there. But I have no idea how I did it, but I managed to fly the drone back to where I was, and the birds just dispersed. So that was a relief, but it also kind of boosted my ego a bit more, so it kind of neutralized all the fear I had from the previous day. So that's not good. A couple of hours later, we reached a section where they had a waterfall, but you couldn't go into the waterfall, so you couldn't see it from where you were standing on the platform. So I rationalized to myself once again, I was already here. It would kind of be a crime not to fly my drone. It would be a waste not to. And that, coupled with the boosted confidence I got from the bird encounter a few hours ago, I flew my drone again. I never learn, do I? As soon as I went up, I realized I had totally underestimated the wind drafts between the mountainous valleys. The winds made my drone uncontrollable. I couldn't maneuver it in any way. I tried to bring it down, but there were so many trees in the way. So many trees, so many rocks, so many obstacles. So I panicked. It was like a super fast-paced video game. I was dodging trees, dodging obstacles. I could see myself. I was getting closer. I was like 50 meters away from the ground. As the drone got closer, I felt like, oh, my guardian angels looking out for me again. I'm gonna make it. As it was about to reach me, a tree got in the way. A sudden wind draft blew my drone into the tree and crashed into the mountains. So that's nice. The drone crashed in front of me, so I saw where it landed. It wasn't as bad as the first time, but it was still in the wilderness. So I climbed up and retrieved it. Woo! About a week later, a friend asked me to help take some photographs for graduation. So I thought, oh, this would be a nice time to use my drone.